How you doing, everybody? Jonathan here, and in this video I'm going to go over one of the biggest sales objections that I get questions on, and that is what to do or say when a client says, I want to speak to my wife or my husband before I start this personal training program. All right, and a lot of you are looking for the words to say or the things to do to make sure that you can close them before they leave. And I'm going to give you tips on what you can do to better handle that situation. But before I do, if you've not yet, make sure to click on that link up there and subscribe to my newsletter, as I send out short articles every Monday on how to see success in the fitness industry. If you just happen to stumble upon this video, make sure to click on the YouTube icon below and subscribe to this channel, as I make videos every Wednesday based on questions that I get the most. And as always, if you've already subscribed to both my newsletter and to YouTube channel, thank you very much for your support. And if you find the information in this video helpful, please click on the like button, that thumbs up, because every like that I get helps this channel. All right, so we've all been there when we're going through the sales process, especially in a big box gym, and then you go through the intro session and go through the workout, and then you pull out the prices, and then you say, well, you know, if you want to sign up for personal training, it costs this much for this many times per week. I recommend, I don't know, twice a week to start, and it'll cost X amount of dollars per month. So would you like to sign up today? And the person gives you the whole, I'm not sure, I think I want to speak to my spouse before I sign up for anything. And then immediately you feel like, oh man, I'm about to lose this sale. What do I got to do? What do I got to say to make sure that I have the client? Because if they walk out, I'm never going to see them again. So when I got this question, I had actually, it was right before I had taught my boot camp class. And so I went around the room and I spoke to my clients and I said, well, how many of you, when you're spending a substantial amount of money, decide that you need to talk to your spouse before you spend it? And the overwhelming majority of the answers were, if I really want something, I usually get it. All right. There were a good amount of people that say I talk to my spouse, but if somebody wants something for themselves, something selfish, they'll just get it. All right, without speaking to their spouse. I actually found out that there were a handful of clients in my boot camp whose husbands didn't know what they were paying for the boot camp services. I charged $197 per month. They told their husbands that we're paying either $97 per month or $150 a month. I have one client that pays me cash just so her husband doesn't know how much she's spending on boot camp. So you have to understand, in most cases, if a client really wants something, they're going to do it. So the whole I need to speak to my spouse thing is usually a cop-out. All right, it's a case where, you know, you didn't deliver enough value, or they can't afford it, or a mix of the two. You know, they were given the comp sessions at a big box gym, and then, you know, they really had no intention of continuing on with you. So you can't try to high pressure clients, all right? There are situations, however, where you can possibly save it, because there may be a situation where a client does want personal training with you, but they really do need to speak to their spouse because it is a substantial financial investment. In such instances, you can say one of a couple of things. All right. The main thing that you can ask is you can try to get part of the sale, asking, well, if let's say the price of your personal training is $400. If $400 is a lot, what is something that your spouse would feel comfortable with? And would you like to sign up for that today? So like a smaller package. And then, you know, if they decide that they want to do more personal training sessions later, they can upgrade. So you can always ask that. All right. And if somebody is really interested in personal training, they may sign up for that. That's like literally 1 in 25 situations where that happens, where they go like, oh, okay, that'll work. In most cases, if that doesn't work and they want to speak to their spouses, don't try to be the person that says, all right, here's the phone, call your spouse. That will never work. You're just making the situation more tense. And when it comes to sales, the last thing you want to do is pressure your client, because this is not like selling them a car where you do a hard sell and then you never have to see them again. You hard sell them and then you have to continue to work with them all the time. So it's a strained relationship. The best thing that you can do if they say that they want to speak to their spouse is say, all right, well, okay. You have to just let them go, all right? And in a lot of situations, because most people do that as a cop-out, you can say, I'll call you tomorrow, and then it'll be like, yeah, it was a no-go. I'm sorry. I really enjoyed your training. And it's not always a knock on you. Sometimes it's purely financial. Sometimes the spouse really doesn't want them to do it, all right? And sometimes they had no intention of doing the the personal training to begin with. All right, but there are some things that you can do on the front end, some questions that you can ask on the front end, so that whole "I need to talk to my spouse" objection never comes up. When you first meet the client, you can ask a couple of things. Why are you training? Why do you want to train now? All right, and then they'll usually give you a situation, perhaps something embarrassing happened, or they have a special occasion coming up. Why you want to train in this gym? And then they'll talk about, all the amenities of the gym, how much they like it. And then finally you should ask, well, why do you want to train with me? All right, and then they'll say, I've heard a lot of your reviews. I read a lot of reviews. I heard a lot of good things about you. And then they're essentially talking themselves into why they should train with you. The thing is, this only works in situations where people sought you out. All right. In a lot of cases, and I think for a lot of the audience here, you may work in a big box gym, or you're essentially trying to get the person interested in training. So those like pre-qualification questions may not necessarily apply because they didn't choose you, you chose them. So your best bet, if you want to try to avoid the whole spouse excuse, is to show them the prices as soon as possible. All right, when you first meet somebody and they agree that they want to train with you, the first thing you should be doing is a fitness profile where you go over their goals, and then you should go over the cost of your services, where you can say, well, I would generally suggest that you do 2 to 3 times per week, whatever the case may be, at X amount per month. And then you can say, if it's something that you might be interested in, you may want to talk to your spouse before we do our personal training session. And then they can either say, just not right now, or I already talked to my spouse, and then you don't have all this wasted time and tension, because you never know. I always let people walk if they, for whatever reason, can't do $197 per month for my boot camp. But you'd be surprised how many people come back, maybe a year down the line, maybe a couple months down the line, because the interaction was so good, or how they'll refer their friends because the interaction was so good. So in any sales situation where you're relationship selling, you're not selling a product or a widget, you're selling a relationship, you always want to keep the interaction as positive as possible. All right, if you bully a client into sales, perhaps it'll work. Maybe not with that objection. You can possibly talk somebody into training, but in a lot of cases, I found that it makes for a strained relationship. You might have a nightmare client that doesn't really show all the time, or that asks for a lot of no shows. I'm sorry, can I get this session back? So you want to keep this as light as possible. So how do you get around this? All right, if you got there, it's probably because you didn't set the client up to not use that objection. All right, so either if they came looking for you, you didn't help them sell themselves on your package. All right, a fourth question you can ask is, if I were to put together a program that was affordable for you, is that something that you want to sign up for? That's for somebody that found you. But if you're finding the client, you got to put it all out there up front. All right, you got to show them prices, and you have to listen. The prices are going to be the same whether you show them when you first meet them or at the end of your presentation. So you're better off getting the shock out of the way, all right? And then your goal is to blow their mind with your value, all right? That personal training session and that fitness assessment has to be through the roof. And if it is, the client is a little bit more inclined to train with you, all right? So if you got to that point, there are a couple of things you didn't do right. So for the next time that you have a comp session or somebody that you first meet, get all that stuff out of the way. If they seek you out, ask those 4 questions. Why are you training now? Why are you training here? Why are you training with me? If I can put together something affordable for you, is that something you want to sign up for? Now the client has sold themselves. If you sought out the client, you want to make sure that you put the prices up there before you do the personal training session. And if they're like, whoa, that's expensive, well then price may be an objection. You can ask if they're married. You can ask if this is something they want to speak to their spouse about, and then knock their socks off when it comes to their training. And I guarantee you it'll be a little bit more easier when it comes to the sales closing process. So I hope you found this video helpful. I get a lot of questions on objections all the time. So I hope this has helped you with this specific objection. If you have any other objections that you come across, put them in the comment section below, because your comments will fuel the videos that goes on this channel. So I'll be happy to read it. As always, if you're looking to take your skill set and your personal training business to the next level in terms of organization, learning how to train better, learning how to coach nutrition, start your own business, I definitely recommend that you check out my Dumbbells to Dollars course, available on my website, reportfit.com. There'll be a link after this video where you can learn more about the course. But I will see you all next time. I had some health issues, which is why I haven't made videos in a while, but for the foreseeable future, I should be making videos a little bit more consistently. So I hope to see you see me. So that's about it. I will see you next week, as long as you remember to healthy, hydrate, drive safe, stress levels low, get rest, don't slap anybody, love your clients, say I love you back. I'll see y'all tomorrow or the next day, and you have a good one. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this video, and as always, if you want to take your training to the next level, I definitely recommend that you check out my Dumbbells to Dollars course, as it has helped thousands of trainers to earn more money and see more success. If you click on the Get Started Now button, you can learn more about the course by going over to my website. I can't wait to see you there.